Hello, welcome back. Now, since we made our last video, I've had rather a lot of questions regarding runner beans. And it rather seems that quite a lot of people are struggling with their runner beans. Either the flowers are falling off or they're being eaten. You don't really know the answers. So I'm going to try and give you a few answers as to why that may be happening. Now, runner beans, they like to be well watered. Every 2 to 3 days, they need to have a good watering. Rather than doing it little and often, you want to give them a good soaking every 2 to 3 days. Now, what we have had is really high temperatures here in the UK. Only, 2 or 3 weeks back, we were hitting temperatures of 40 degrees or more. Well, although in the main, hot temperatures don't particularly affect these plants, what does though is the overnight temperatures. So if we have 2 or 3 overnights where it's over 15 degrees by night, which we certainly have, these plants really suffer. And what they do is they actually abort making pods. So they just drop the flowers down and you won't see any pods from them. They do that automatically. So really, the climate has an awful lot to do with whether you get beans or not. And then the other thing is the variety. So what varieties are you growing? And somebody asked me the other day what variety I was growing. We're actually growing this year a variety called Firestorm, and it's supposed to set its pods no matter what. And one of the reasons for that is that it's actually crossed with a French bean. And these are French beans down here. This is a variety called Cobra. French beans seem to set their pods whenever. They don't seem to have an awful lot of trouble with flowers dropping and not setting their pods. So by cross-pollinating this runner bean with a French bean, hopefully you should get the best of both worlds. So pods that set with the runner bean, but also with whichever variety that has been crossed with, it will also give you nice long 10-20 centimetre long beans for you to be able to enjoy. And I can best describe that by saying that for the last probably, I'm trying to think, Mrs. W, 5-6 years, we've been growing a variety called Lady Di. And we had quite a few years of good harvest from that variety. But what we were noticing is that over the last 2 to 3 years, it simply wasn't producing very much. And we were losing lots of flowers, like many of you have been describing to me in the comments. And I was at a loss to think why that was happening. Because previously it had been such a great cropper and such a lovely runner bean. But by doing a little bit of research and talking to some of the seed companies that we buy our seeds from, and reading the descriptions, you start to find out that they've been doing quite a bit of work themselves. And like I say, by cross-pollinating the French bean with a runner bean, you get the best of both worlds. And I honestly think that that is the way to go. If you're struggling with getting your beans to set their pods, flowers dropping off, that's probably the reason why. And you need to find a variety that is crossbred with a French bean too, so that they display both the characteristics that we actually need to be able to produce the beans. Now, I did mention in the previous video about Ken. He posted some pictures on his Instagram account, which I had a look at, and honestly, his beans are absolutely amazing. And not living over there in Wales, I don't particularly know exactly what the weather has been like for you guys over there, but certainly for us, we're right on the east coast. And most of the weather systems that feed into our country here in the UK will go west to east. And what tends to happen is that the rain falls on that western side from like the northwest and down that western side of the country, and by the time it reaches us over here in the extreme east, there's very little rainfall on that low front. So we don't tend to see much rainfall here during the summer months. So for us, at least anyway, we have to cope with that too. And I think by just changing the varieties, it's helped us tremendously. One of the things I love about this tunnel that we erected earlier in the year is that just as I was imagining, I can come along, just pick the beans, they're here. Absolutely amazing. The other thing is, if you are new to gardening, if you've not actually grown runner beans before, it's a really good idea to be picking these regularly. Because once the seed forms, they'll stop producing flowers and you'll stop getting runner beans. So even if you don't need them, do pick them. Runner beans are really good for freezing. And of course, if you've got family and friends that are nearby, you can give your beans away. Myself and Mrs. W, we actually do freeze quite a few of our beans. Principally because we like to enjoy a taste of summer over winter. And like I say, these really do freeze very well. They don't lose a huge amount of their taste. And actually by this one here, if I just show you this one, you can see how this is actually starting to now start getting a bit on the large side. That means there's rather a large bean that's forming there, and if we leave that for too long, that end plant will suddenly think to itself, right, I've done my job, I've set my seed, all I need to do now is to wait for me to go nice and brown and papery, and then I will burst open, and then I can then regrow myself. Now, what I would like to say is to thank you all for your very, very kind birthday wishes. I can see that some of you have actually seen across our social media pages that August the 5th, which it is today, has flashed up and said, it's my birthday today. And it's been lovely to hear from you, and we're going to post some pictures a little bit later where we're going. Actually going to go out with my youngest daughter and Mrs. W. So we're going to go and have a couple of beers down by the Norfolk Broads in Reedham, which is quite close to where we live. So you'll see those a bit later, and yeah, you can see exactly what we are up to. But also, a little bit later on this evening, we're having my brother around and my sister-in-law. Really looking forward to that, because we're planning a nice meal, which is also one of the reasons why I want to be having some of these runner beans and French beans. This is a variety called Cobra, and it does produce really, really well. Cobra does. And again, I can remember somebody actually saying to me in one of the comments about some of their French beans, and they don't seem to produce quite as well as they've seen in past seasons. And I honestly really do think it's got a huge amount to do with the weather patterns that we've seen just lately. Normally these Cobra, they go great guns and they're everywhere, but you can see these haven't even reached the top of our structure yet, whereas the runners have. So maybe it's just not the ideal conditions for the French climbing beans. Who knows? But from year to year, each and every condition change, and there's always some vegetables that do really, really well, in any given year, and then there'll be some that haven't done so well. So yeah, I thought today we'd just talk about the beans, because as I say, I had many comments from people asking me certain questions, and I thought, right, let's get it out on a video and just explain what probably is happening or what could be happening, and hopefully that will help you understand why things are happening and what you can do in the future to maybe negate against it. Now I've had a wonderful harvest, and so we've been in the greenhouse, got some tomatoes. These are some of the shallots that we harvested earlier in the year. If you're a follower of our channel, you'll know that we harvested those sometime during June. And of course we've got some lovely beans. We've got potatoes in storage, which we shall take out, which will be a roast tonight. And a nice little courgette. Absolutely amazing. So this evening, as I say, I'm having a really lovely time. Looking forward to seeing my brother and his wife around here tonight. We do enjoy their company, and we should have a really lovely time. Got a nice rib of beef to have with all of this lovely veg that we have coming out of the garden. And then it goes on all the way through the weekend, so don't be surprised if you don't see another video over this weekend other than this one, simply because it is really busy, and we've got the children coming over Sunday, is it, with the grandchildren, so that'll be a really cracking day. Tomorrow I'm at the football, going down to Carrow Road, and looking forward to seeing them at home for the first time. But whatever you're doing over the weekend, I hope it goes really well. But do keep posting your comments, because we do so love to get your comments, and it's lovely to have a good chat with you all, because you learn things from me and I learn things from you. It's one of the great things about, or what I think is really great about our channel. And we shall see you next time.